Hi, this is John Kassir, the voice of The Crypt Keeper, and you're listening to Without Your Head. I love a girl who'll give you head, and then let you keep it. Oops, she's without her head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neil.
And that would make me Terrible Troy.
Mm-hmm. This is the last live show before Boston Underground Film Festival 2019. So we're going to have some guests on tonight to talk about it. First up, we have Sophia Cachiola.
Hi.
And hello, and Michael Epstein from Clickbait.
Hello.
Hey.
Welcome.
It's always good to have you guys on.
Yeah.
Thanks. It's always good to be here.
Yeah. So, New England premiere of Clickbait. Now, you guys had the movie at various festivals, but is it any different to have it at Boston Underground Film Festival?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Buff is kind of our home. Like, they encouraged us too much. Like, I kind of blame them for us making a lot of movies.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, we were first there in, like, 2011 with a music video, and then every year since, for a while, we had like a music video or a short, and then finally we made a feature, and they were kind enough to program it. And now they've programmed all of our features since. So it'll be interesting to see it with like basically a hometown audience now, and like a bunch of people that want to see what we've been up to since we left Boston.
Yeah, and they've been just so tremendously supportive of us, and they're great. I mean, it's not just us; they're actually tremendously supportive of regional and local filmmakers, and they really know how to blend kind of a national reputation with giving opportunities to people in the area. And I think that's like the magic of a festival like this that is really hard to capture. We've been to a lot of different fests, and you sort of think like, well, Boston seems like the best because it's where we started, it's our our hometown, but really it stands out among. I mean, there are lots of great festivals, but it really does stand out among the kind of sea of festivals that are out there. And I think people from other cities often say like, oh, when I played Boston Underground, that was like one of the best experiences I had. I was treated really well and met all kinds of interesting people, and like they really do a good job facilitating the experience of filmmakers.
They're very good at parties too.
Yeah.
So
yes, they are. Yeah.
So it's a really fun thing. Everybody should go, basically.
I agree. Last year was my first one, and I picked a great one to go to because I had a great time. Like I said, not just watching the movies, which is awesome, but afterwards, everyone gets together and has great parties. People make the movies. People are watching the movies. People put the show together. Everyone's interacting. It's having a good time.
Yeah, definitely. We're looking forward to it because it's been a couple of years since we've been to it, so. We're sad.
Yeah, the last 2 years we've been on social media watching everybody at Buff, like we're in tears, like missing the experience of it, and jealous of everybody.
And the programming is always so good, so I'm very excited about multiple things this year. So,
I think, I think Clickbait's the only one I've seen. Have you guys seen any of the other the films or shorts that are? Well, I think you were part of another one.
I've seen a lot of the shorts, or a handful of the shorts anyway. I don't think I've seen any of the features.
No, definitely not. But I've been looking forward to Tone Deaf, which is Ricky Bates' new movie, and he had a movie that played Buff when we did Blow the Trippids at Buff, Trash Fire, and we just loved it so much, and we loved Ricky so much that we met him at the festival. And so this is his follow-up, and we're really, really excited to check it out. So I'm excited that they have it. It just premiered at South by Southwest. This is like the next screening, I feel like.
Yeah, it is the second.
So that's really awesome. And then Travis Stevens he's like a producer that's been to Buff a ton, and we've met him a bunch. And so he has his directorial debut. So we're also really excited about that. The Girl on the Third Floor, I think it's called.
Something
like that.
Close to that, yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two features that I know. And like the opening night is the Hail Satan doc. So like that'll be fun too. So like those are just like the features on my radar, and then there's a bunch more that look awesome. So
yeah, generally we just trust them. If they programmed it, it's going to be interesting. And like, so sometimes movies aren't things that I like, but they're always programming stuff that's worth seeing. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's difficult. Sometimes it's it's worthwhile. Like they always choose. They make a great program. They put together things that you should experience. And I think the audience really trusts them. I mean, they did a Kickstarter campaign.
They do one every year.
They do it every year, but they did it and they ran the whole campaign without announcing a single film and got funded. So it's like all these people know that whatever they program, they trust them. It's going to be good.
Yeah. You mentioned the girl on the third floor, and fellow wrestling fans like myself, if people don't know who are listening, CM Punk is in that, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Just looked at that. somebody else told me that, and I was like, what?
Yeah, and he's also in Rabbit, which won't be playing there, but it's coming up, the Sasuke Twins remake.
We're looking forward to that as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the secret screening. There's a secret midnight
screening. I don't think it's done yet.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's still in progress.
So you said 2011 was the first when you guys had a music video there. Was that the first thing that you made together, like creatively?
It wasn't even our. It actually preceded our directing. It was a music video for our band, Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling, that this guy Ted Cormie directed for us. He worked. We were involved in it, maybe more than. No, he's great. He was probably like, okay, you're involved enough. No, he's Ted is really awesome, and he worked really, really hard. For 2 years, we worked on making this video that was a recreation of the opening sequence of The Prisoner. And so that was what played at Buff initially. And it was really fun because that was part of what got us doing that music video and some other stuff around that time was really what got us into filmmaking. So, that experience.
So that was kind of our first film festival I think I ever went to, maybe. Because what film festival would I have gone to?
I think that's probably true.
I think that's probably it, was that year, and it was Buff. So, and then we saw how cool it was, and I'm like, wow. So the next year we submitted, I forget which music video, but the next year we definitely submitted one, and we were back.
I think we might have made our own Darling Pet Monkey video for the next year, and that played there. And then we had something essentially every year, except for maybe the last two we didn't. But up until we moved, when we were living in Boston, we always had something every year. They were kind enough to give us some time to show people our weirdness.
Yeah.
So. Actually, how did you two meet to work together creatively? And were you doing that before you started dating and got married and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved to Boston when I was 17, and I started going to. I had a book that said that Bob Dylan and Joan Baez performed at Club Passim in Harvard Square.
Okay.
So I got a job right next door to Club Passim, and I started going every Tuesday night to the open mic. And there were a bunch of regulars that I'm still friends with to this day, but Michael was one of the regulars that was going every Tuesday night. And so we just really fell in love with each other's music. And then, and he helped me record in his bedroom, long before we were dating.
Nothing creepy.
No, I kind of thought I was going to be murdered because I lived all the way in Medford and he lived all the way in JP, and I had to it was the first time I took the Orange Line, and I was like, oh, I'm going to JP to be murdered by this dude I met, whatever. And so anyway, I started a band. He had joined my band, and then a few years later, we were pretty much had pushed every other opportunity for love away. We're forced upon each other. So
we were stuck together.
Yeah, pretty much default. We spent every second together doing something creative, and it was well, this is stupid. We should just be a couple at this point. Yeah. So bands and stuff definitely preceded film, and being friends preceded that.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did it go from doing music to making shorts and feature movies?
Well, we I think the first music video we did, I played in a band called The Motion Sick, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it happened. Well, whatever it was, we decided we were going to do a music video, and we ended up finding a guy named Neil Foreman to kind of take over and direct the music video for this song called 30 Lives, which you're probably familiar with the Konami code or Contra?
Yeah.
The up, down, up. Yeah. Okay. So I had this ridiculous idea to write this song about using the Konami code to spend 30 lives with a partner, with another person. It's sort of a love song. So we did this song called 30 Lives, and we made a music video for it. And it was really fun. It was a multi-day shoot. It was pretty elaborate. Choreographed dancing. A lot of people in it. You can watch it on the internet still should you choose to see the weird things we did and this is 2006 maybe. And then the song got picked up for Dance Dance Revolution games. And so the song and the music video were in a bunch of the games, and we just sort of like realized that, wow, that music video took us quite a, it was quite successful for us, and it took us a lot of places that we couldn't have gotten without the music video having been made. So we started thinking about doing one for Sophia's band, and it took us a long time to do that.
Yeah.
Because we decided on this elaborate concept for Do Not Forsake Me, My Darling, where we'd recreate the opening of The Prisoner, which is like 70 complicated shots done in London.
In the 60s.
In the 60s that we were going to do.
With fancy cars.
Right.
Somehow we found it all. But props to our director.
Yeah, so that was Ted Corney. So we did those two music videos, and they were both really successful. That one ended up on the Time magazine, like Best Videos of the Year list. And so it was at that point where we said, okay, we really want to keep doing this, but these are very expensive. So we need to just, we have a lot of good ideas for concepts, and we think we can do a lot of them without spending a lot of money. So we just bought some camera gear, and we learned a lot by watching over the shoulders of the.
We bugged everybody we worked with, just asking a million questions and just observing them creepily. So we figured it out, And like I think like the DIY ethos of coming from music, like for me, like my bands have basically been punk bands where I've like taught myself the instruments and taught myself like how I wanted to like present my words and stuff. So all of that translated very easily to film. It's just like, okay, well now I'm just going to learn this skill so I can do X, Y, Z with it. And so it's all about just like building on the skills, and all that was like what we were used to at the band. Like I learned how to do merch and graphic design and posters and all that stuff that you have to do to promote. Yeah. So all of that translated so smoothly into film. It's just picking up new skills.
Yeah, and when we started making shorts as well, and we started doing the 40 film project and just things for fun. And it's actually interesting. I mean, this maybe leads back to Buff and everything. The Brattle every year, I think they probably still do it. I'm not sure. They were holding a trailer competition where they would give you a title and then assign you like certain parameters, and you would make a fake trailer for a movie with that title. And so this is 2012 maybe, or 11, I don't know, 11 or 12.
11, yeah.
And they did one, it was their 10th anniversary of doing the trailer competition. So they decided to do a film called 10. And we just jumped off with that and decided to make a trailer for like essentially based on like the 10 Little Indians, the Agatha Christie thing, where there were 10 people and they were being killed off, and there was a lot of pig themed things in it. So we made that fake trailer. And Ned Hinkle, who is one of the guys who runs the Brattle, chose ours as like his favorite or his pick or something like that. I can't remember. So we won some award at that thing, and everybody involved with it was like, let's make this movie. And so we foolishly, we thought about it for a little while, and then just like the dummies we are, we're like, okay, let's do it, and that is kind of how we got started
doing feature films. Yeah. Blame the Brattle and Buff.
Yeah, so really it all comes back to the Brattle and the Boston Underground Film Festival as to why we are doing this at all. So we feel like we have a strong connection to the festival and to the theater. And they encouraged us too much. Like they could have shut us down early, but
yeah. Like stop, you should stop. And don't ever
they were
try
like,
this again.
Cool, keep making stuff.
So if anyone ever does want to stop you too, if you build like a time machine, you can go back to like
exactly. Keep us out of the Brattle Theater and Boston Underground. But yeah, so no, it's a really special. I mean, I know that sounds sort of silly, but it is a really special tie for us, to coming back to here and doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. About coming back, and it's also kind of like the end of some things for you, because you're renting your house that's there and stuff. So what's that whole feeling like?
We're just moving for a second time because like we didn't do a good enough job the first time. I don't know.
Right.
So yeah, we're just in major purge mode.
For anybody, I mean, people may not have context, but we lived in Boston for a really long time, and we're involved in the art scene there. And decided after our third feature that it was time for us to try to pursue filmmaking in Los Angeles, which we did about 2.5 years ago now. And so we're just back in town settling our life business here, making our final separation from Boston. But we've had a good time in Los Angeles, and we've had good. I mean, success is whatever it is, but we feel like we've had good success and good progress with that, and we're happy doing film out there. So now we're just kind of getting rid of our last possessions that were kind of in storage here, and dealing with all of our business and kind of saying goodbye. I mean, we'll be back here. It's not like
we still have family in the area, so we'll be back. But
I lived here 18 years. I can never really escape.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure they'll let you back too.
Yeah. I think legally they can't stop us from coming back.
Well, I'll look into it.
Yeah. Believe me, people have tried.
There was that law, like, not that either of us are Native American, because we're not, but there was a messed up law that, like, Native Americans could not go down to Boston Common that was still on
Really?
Yeah. I think they, like, finally struck it, like, down, like, in, like, 2007 or something.
Yeah.
It was a major article in the Phoenix way back when, but I was like, that is so messed up.
It had not been enforced in a long time.
Oh, of course. But it was, like, on the book. Boston, so they couldn't, like, write a law for us specifically.
You wonder what like the origin of that was, like who thought of that to be a law.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure whoever was stealing land from Native Americans back in the early days of Boston, and the law never went away. I don't know. Yeah, they didn't want them petitioning City Hall, and I don't know.
I don't know. It was messed up.
Yeah, wasn't nice. Whatever it was.
So in the early days when you are making the shorts and the features, did a lot of the people you work with, did you meet them through Buff?
I mean, some of them absolutely, for sure. Like Chris Halleck has helped us out a ton, and he's now the programmer for the Homegrown Horror block. I think that's Friday. That's always a really great block. Yeah, and like people like, I think we met Jim McDonough, who's on later, like at another film event, but then we're like, Jim, submit your movies to Buff, they'll love you, and they have. And so like, that's really great. And
so we always try to bring everybody into Buff and kind of.
And we met Melinda Green through Buff, and she was one of the actors in Blood of the Tribbids. So it's definitely collaborative.
Yeah, we actually met Nicole on the Controversy before.
We met her through TED, right?
Through doing our music videos. Yeah, she worked with us on one of our music videos, and so she was really cool. And she's one of the heads of the. I forget their exact positions at this point, but she's in the top, one of the kind of three
and
leaders.
We definitely met Izzy Lee through Buff too.
Yeah.
And so we worked with Izzy a ton, including in one of the shorts that's playing.
Yes, on
Saturday maybe, The Obliteration of Chickens. Michael helped
before Assassinat. I think it's Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon. No, I think it's Saturday afternoon. I don't remember, but Assassinat, which is a cool looking movie. By Drew Bolduc, who did the Taint and Science Team, and he's a good guy too. I like him a lot. A movie that I edited worked with Izzy Lee. I edited it. It's kind of a weird,
nihilistic
existential nonsense, strange film.
Kind of film. Yeah.
So I edited that, and that's playing this world premiering before Assassinat this weekend. So that's cool too. Yeah, but Izzy, we've worked with on a whole bunch of films, and she's awesome. And we met her through Buff as well. Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a Sunday at noon.
Sunday at noon. Okay, this Sunday. Yeah. Well, we'll be there. Whenever it is, we'll be there.
Yeah. I'm looking forward. Just the name alone is pretty amazing.
The Obliteration of Chickens?
Yes.
Yeah.
Assassinat is pretty good.
Assassinat is good.
For a name show.
Yeah. It's fun. I think it's like 3 minutes long. It's definitely weird. You can see my editing work. I don't know what to say. for better or worse.
Right. Along those lines, which is your favorite part of the whole creative process?
It's a good question.
Oh my God. I mean, besides like the initial, I've got this insane idea, and then we riff on it, that's always fun. But I just like being on set, personally.
There's kind of something magical about seeing stuff happen, because you're looking at something on a page the whole time, and you're trying to imagine it in your head, and you're trying to coordinate all the people to show up and do the thing. And then essentially the way we view directing is if we've done our work correctly up to that point, on set, we barely do anything. We just kind of make sure everybody's standing in the right spot. So that moment when the camera rolls and the people do the scene for the first time and you're like, this is great. This is what I envisioned, or this is different than I envisioned, but it's also great. There's something really special about that, seeing it like actually alive.
So this might be my second time. Hopefully the third year I'll get Troy to come along.
Oh.
What do you think, Troy?
Join the cult.
I think I can be talked into it. I think it sounds like a lot of fun to me. I just go for the cereal buffet.
Yeah, there's the Saturday morning cartoons, which I struggle. Sophia just can't get up that early.
And I don't like cartoons.
I was thinking the exact same thing, actually. I was like, because like the secret screenings, like almost midnight, and karaoke's like till like 2, and I want to get up. I mean, but it's awesome though. I did do the series once for Halloween. It was a good time.
Not gonna lie, I feel like I have to drag myself out of bed no matter how few hours of sleep I've had, because it's always really a fun time. It's just cool to watch. Like a lot of our friends who go to Buff bring their kids to that too. So it's kind of cool watching like these weird 80s cartoons. Some of them I remember, some of them are just things that I've never seen before. And watching them with like our friends who hang out and watch strange horror movies, and then a bunch of their kids, is just a really good time. It's a really strange experience. And it is early in the morning, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
You can
and I like that they show the old vintage commercials between them too.
Oh yeah. Well, it's Kayla Janice who does the programming for that, I believe, and she definitely has I don't know her personally, but I've heard her talk at a variety of things, and I've read some books that she's written, and she just has like an amazing breadth of knowledge of like weirdo stuff. I mean, like everything, just crazy weirdo movies and weirdo cartoons. And so it's just like, it's kind of a treat to get to see like what kind of crazy nonsense she puts together for that program.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a favorite breakfast cereal?
I just ate some corn pops today.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're I guess I maybe I like corn pops.
I don't know. I just like Rice Krispies. So boring.
Yeah, that is boring.
How about Troy? Because I know he's a big cereal man.
I'll usually, all-time favorite was Freakies back in the.
Oh yeah.
That was like the best cereal ever. Yeah, they were just, and the characters were great too. But right now it kind of goes between Cinnamon Life and probably Frosted Flakes.
Frosted Flakes are hard to argue with too.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
Freakies, the one that our Troy and I's mutual friend Ron Hex, is that the one that he wrote the song about me?
No, that was Quisp, which was also another great 70s cereal.
Yeah. That one just freaks me out, the lyrics, because I don't know how they pertain to me. And I just feel weird.
Never argue with the artist. Just go along with it.
I guess. So are you bringing Toot Strudels?
Oh. Well, we had we tracked down Professor Wolfgang von Tootstrudel, and he
a shipment is on the way.
And a shipment of freshly baked Tootstrudels is being delivered by the Strudel birds for the Buff screening. So
for the first 90.
Yes, some number of. It won't be. You got to get there early if you want Tootstrudels.
The first 90.
I'll make sure you get some though.
All right.
Yeah, it's the first time that we've given Tootstrudels at a screening. We've talked about it. So this is for context. Our movie Clickbait, one of the, I would say, major thematic elements is that there are these radioactive self-heating toaster pastries that all the characters are kind of making commercials for and doing stuff for, and they are called Tootstrudels. And so this is going to be the first time ever that Tootstrudels are distributed to the public, I would say.
Yeah, it's very cool. I have to say, I was scolded recently by a guest because he said that I didn't bring context to some of my questions. I just assume everyone knows.
I'm not scolding you. I'm just
okay. No. I didn't mean you. It was another guest, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I just feel like maybe I should expand where it needs to be, expand upon it.
Right.
But,
yeah, in my mind, it's just like toot strudels. That's self-explanatory. Everyone's saying that.
Exactly.
I mean, honestly, they should. That's
if
embarrassing.
They don't, they could Google it.
Yeah.
But they can't. It's all crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, so toot strudels are the big product in our film, and you can get T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. And
like some people have.
I know. Yeah. I know some people with toot strudel shirts.
Without
It even fits me better now, so that's very good.
Nice.
Very exciting.
Yes, it is very exciting. So I'll be wearing that Wednesday to the I was gonna say toot strudel premiere, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would eat the toot strudel.
I don't know either.
That's the thing.
Just to have it is all you really.
Yeah, I mean, it's at your own risk.
Yep.
I don't know if there's a flavor. I don't know if there's a flavor of toot strudel that Troy would be into.
Yeah.
There's eggplant. I don't think he'd be into the eggplant.
No.
Not really.
Celery.
Celery.
Like the nuclear watermelon.
Watermelon's the most.
Oh, watermelon.
Watermelon.
It's straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, radioactive watermelon.
Okay, that's my favorite kind.
Oddly enough, that would probably be my least favorite. I'm not a watermelon fan.
Yeah, I know.
What if it's radioactive?
Well, no.
You're sold it.
Yeah. I think when you make anything radioactive, I think it's good.
Yeah. It definitely helps.
Yeah. It's I don't say it's weird, but it's got to be the first merchandise tie-in, I think, to one of your movies.
For us, yeah, I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
Like Magnetic, which is our sci-fi film, had a company, Magnetostatic Systems, and we would put their logo and stuff on a lot of computers, anything in the movie, we'd put it all over, and it had a Facebook page and stuff.
Yeah, but we never merged anything.
There were no products. Yeah.
We actually, when we made 10, which is like I said, is kind of a Agatha Christie, 10 Little Indians and Then There Were None film about 10 people in a mansion, they're killing each other off. We talked to some people about developing a board game version of it because we're it'd be so cool to have a board game murder mystery kind of Clue-ish, but something more related to the movie. And we did a little design of it. We talked about that. We talked about doing a. Did you ever play those the old Sierra games or Main
Yes, I just talked about them recently.
Yeah, we were just talking about
Quest and, yes, all those. So we were it would be so cool to do a video game version where you're going through and trying to solve, but all those things are complicated.
Cost money.
So we didn't do them, but those were on they were on the table at one point to do, and I would love to do some kind of tie-in like that for something we do in the future. A guy we are friends with, his name is Dustin Ferguson, and he just finished a movie called Robo Woman, which isn't out yet, but it comes out pretty soon. But part of a tie-in he did with that was that he had a guy develop an 8-bit Nintendo game for basically, based on the film.
Playable Nintendo.
Yeah, and they made cartridges and everything, and they're going to have a ROM version. It's shipping soon. But I saw they made a commercial for it too with some game images and gameplay stuff, and it looked awesome. And I was
that's badass.
Yeah, I was that's super cool to make a playable game based on that style.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was pretty psyched on that. I'm gonna have to check it out when it comes out. But yeah, so I'd love to do something like that. I mean, Clickbait isn't the movie to do a video game for, but maybe the next one. Yeah.
Yeah. Just real quick about those Sierra games. The real old ones. They'd have 20 5 1/4 floppy disk, and you have to keep changing them.
I am definitely old enough to have played all those, and beaten most of them. So yeah.
And also the real old ones too. You just had to type what you were doing.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have the exact phrasing, they wouldn't know what you're doing.
Yeah. It got much easier when you just clicked on stuff and you had menus that gave you options.
Oh yeah. They got a little more user friendly as it went on.
Yeah, I played all the Space Quest and King Quest from the first one, on and all the Leisure Suit Larrys.
Oh, Leisure Suit Larry.
I'm moderately embarrassed about now, but
Yeah. And what was we talked about last week was It was the one where it's like in New Orleans with the voodoo. That one was very cool.
You were
It
this
was like-
detective guy, and
It was
there
like
was
something
a
Sins of the
werewolf
Father.
murder. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was the
I don't-
guy's name. It was the character's name, Sins of the Father.
I vaguely remember this, but I don't remember. I don't think I ever really played it, but I vaguely remember that existing. Yeah.
Gabriel something, I think.
Yeah,
I
that's
think you're right. Yeah.
Well, those are fun games, and it would be cool. I think it'd be really fun to make something like that at some point when we have like a Quest movie where that makes sense.
Yeah. Especially if you had to keep like put in Destiny of 17.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, that would
which we
make
could
it.
probably
Yeah.
skip that.
And then one of the discs would be like corrupted, and you'd have to like mail it back. And
But one of the way later ones after you played it for 10 days.
Yeah, that was always a great experience. Or I
What's
would
the
have like
weather
a pirated copy that mostly worked, but then it would crash at like 3/4 of the way through the game.
So what's the weather been like if you're coming back to Boston?
Awful.
We hate it. We hate cold weather. We're done with it. We're never going to deal with it again.
We just because we drove back because we were driving some of our stuff back to California, and we just didn't know that it was going to be 0 in the entire Midwest for days. It was awful.
Turns out, don't drive through the mountains in the winter. But
we haven't really adjusted since then.
Well, how did Bring Me Your Women? How did that go?
Yeah, Bring Us Your Women is a project by Catherine Capozzi, who does all of our score work for our films. She's really awesome. So it's really her project that we just contribute to. And so it's just songs and video and dances about historical women and how they've been presented through history and their stories. So I sang 3 songs at that show. It was a really big show on International Women's Day, and it was really awesome. It was really well done, and the music was great. So it was really big. It was at the Somerville Theater, which is 600-person venue or something. So yeah, it was really great.
Yeah, and it's all these different people who had never kind of worked together normally necessarily. All these different musicians. There were, Catherine has a rock band called Axe Monkey, so that's kind of the foundational part of it. But then there was a whole string section. There were a whole group of singers. This woman, Christine Zoufri from France, was visiting to sing at the show, and some other woman, Christina Go from the Ivory Coast, was visiting to sing at the show. And then a bunch of Boston people. And then there were African-style drummers and Chinese. I
knew the names of their instruments.
Do you know the instrument, that single-string instrument, the Chinese instrument? It's really beautiful when played well.
Yeah. It was
really cool.
We used to call a guy the Stick Man, I believe. We would see him every once in a while. Yeah.
That guy doesn't. That was my joke about playing it well, but
yes, I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that guy. I'm a fan of the T Station guy. But this guy who plays the show is amazing. He's beautiful. He plays with the Chinese opera and stuff. And
the Beijing opera.
It's a bunch of people who would not necessarily play in a rock band setting. Yeah. And they're kind of excited to do it. They're it's weird for them, but they like it, and it becomes a really interesting collaboration.
It was almost like a cultural exchange, of ideas or something. It was really fascinating how it all came together.
Yeah, and we had produced the films for it now 5 years ago or something like that. So we produced each. At that point, we did a film. We either directed ourselves or found people to create films for each of the songs that were done at that point, which is maybe a dozen songs or something. And so those videos also played in sync with the performances and sometimes with dancers and other kinds of things. So it's really it's a cool project, and I really wish it happened more often. I don't know, it's such an endeavor to get off the ground that it's not something that will happen frequently.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was 100 people involved. It was insane how big it was. It was great.
Yeah. So, see, I've seen Clickbait several times. So, but for people who are listening for the first time, for you guys on the show, can you give them an idea of what Clickbait's about?
Well, that's the interesting question, right? We never really know. No, it's the way we've kind of come to describing it is that it's a social satire, kind of horror film, about the pitfalls and impositions of fame culture on people.
Social media.
And social media.
Influencers, which are in this week.
So, yeah, the story is that there are these two young women who are in college, and one of them, they kind of are both vloggers, and one of them is really popular, but her popularity diminishes when one of her rivals is diagnosed with cancer and kind of becomes popular as a result of being sick. And so it's sort of about her struggling to recover that, and then she starts getting stalked. And although that's bad, it starts to help her get popular again, so she's not that eager to, have it stop. And that's essentially that's where the movie goes from there,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Seth Chatfield, he'll be in attendance, who's in Clickbait.
Yeah, he plays the detective that they call to investigate their stalking.
It was a very incompetent detective, Frank Dobson.
Yeah, he's very hilarious in the film. So.
He is.
So yeah, Seth will be there. Catherine Capozzi, who did the score with us, will be there.
Oh, nice.
And Izzy Lee, who we mentioned before, worked on a couple days of the movie, helping us doing some assistant directing, some other stuff. So she'll be there. I think that might be
it from the movie.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else from the movie will be there, but yeah, it'll be a nice gathering of people, and we'll do our hometown Q&A, and hopefully people have interesting questions. It's been a fun movie to take around because we never really know what we're going to get asked, and it's kind of maybe you can say it better, but it's like both a simple movie and a complicated movie. I think that's what we're sort of trying to do. So on the surface it's kind of simple, but then there's a lot of complicated stuff that happens in it. So
yeah.
So we tend to have Q&As where they're like, well, how do we, how can we unpack this whole thing and talk about it? So it's always fun.
Yeah. I've not met Seth before, so I'm looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah.
Oh, you've not?
Yeah.
No.
Maniac.
Yeah. Well, you will.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think you need to meet Brandy. I see your blossoming online friendship.
Yeah, well, we were both in England at the same time.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. And she did message me to go drinking somewhere, but then it never happened.
Yeah.
She's hilarious. She's great.
She's definitely a character. They're all characters.
Oh yeah. I mean, to be in one of our movies, you kind of have to be like a total nut. So.
Right. And I didn't realize at the time, but I kind of cosplayed as her character in Clickbait this year at Halloween. Well, I too went as a turd.
It's interesting. There's an interesting story, I think, to that, which is that the script was in process. We were writing the script up until shooting, essentially, or working on it up until shooting. And there was a scene where they were going to a Halloween party, and we knew that. So the two characters are Bailey and Emma. And Bailey's like the popular one, and Emma's supposed to be like kind of the
bookish, and
she's kind of a stick in the mud, basically. She's kind of like always afraid of everything, kind of a downer on everything. So anyway, we knew Bailey was going to wear like the princess or something like that, a kind of classic like prom queen kind of outfit. And we were trying to figure out what costume to put Emma in, to put Brandy playing Emma in. And Halloween came around, and I saw a picture on probably Instagram of Brandy dressed as a poop. And I was like, that's it. That's the costume. So I messaged her, and I was like, hey, I figured if she dresses a poop in real life, she can't be too mad if we ask her to dress as a poop in the movie. So I was like, Brandy, how do you feel about Emma being dressed as a poop in the Halloween scene? And she's like, great.
Yeah.
So
and then I had to remake the costume because she had bought it, so it was like trademark costuming over this poop. So like I had to get felt and swirl it into a poop shape. It was so silly. It looked pretty good. It's almost more hilarious.
I think so. Yeah, it looked good.
Yeah. So Brandy inspired it real life by dressing as a poop for Halloween.
The other day we were in the store and I saw that you could get poop shaped cupcakes, muffin tins.
Nobody wants that.
I was almost like, should we bring it to the premiere?
No, we should not.
I think it's fascinating that poop is cute now, and you can buy kids' toys of poop.
I'm not
should
into it.
eat anything that looks like
I'm not
poop.
into it. No.
I mean, when I was a kid,
I actually do have a poop coffee mug. I'm drinking my tea out of right now.
Yeah, I'm just not into it. I'm not into it.
Yeah,
But poop as her costume, it fits the character,
Yeah.
I think, really well. So.
she goes to the party under protest, so like it
Yeah.
just makes sense.
Yeah.
And then we wrote that whole dialogue scene. There in the film, there's a scene where Bailey is like kind of like, I can't believe you dressed up like a poop to go to this party, and that was fun to like really explore. Spend some time having a discussion about what it means to dress as a poop when you go to a party.
Yeah.
Party pooper.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know if you're familiar with the store Five Below, but last time I was there, I saw it was like a remote control poop that farts, and I was just like, that's like a kid's toy today, and it's very bizarre.
I did. So we have a lot of nieces and nephews. We don't have children of our own, but we have nieces and nephews. And maybe last time we were visiting, and my nephew had this game. What was it called? Anyway, the premise of the game is that you look into a toilet, and it's a toy toilet, not a regular toilet.
Right,
you look into the toilet and you flush it, and like sometimes, some random time, it sprays you with water.
Yeah, it's like Russian roulette. With this little toilet.
So basically, like you alternate turns, and I'll flush it, and then if I don't get sprayed, he goes and he flushes it, and it's like, I guess you lose. You lose a point. The other person gets a point if you get sprayed in the face with the toilet. But I don't think nobody really keeps score. It's just like he just laughs really hard when.
And it's very loud.
Yeah, it makes a flushing sound and everything. It was so there's definitely.
Apparently, this is what the kids are into.
the kids dig it. Yeah, the kids dig it.
Kind of sounds like what I'd be into. That sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would have loved it too,
Yeah.
He's a good kid, too, so it's not even, I can't even say, like, I can't believe he's into toilet humor. He's
5.
He's 5. He's well behaved. Yeah.
So, do you still do music? I know you were at but do you do new music?
So far in LA, we have not started any bands, which is hilarious because we started like 20 bands when we lived in Boston. But we're looking to do it this year, or like at least start writing songs and getting something else off the ground.
We did also write several songs for the Clickbait score soundtrack, or
and we
whatever.
made a music video recently for Broken Heart, which is like the end theme song of the movie. So we've been.
It's a great video.
Thank you. Yeah, we've been active in making music, but just not as like a band, like its own project.
Yeah, it is sort of funny too because we put out the score. We worked with Catherine Capozzi, our friend, and we have a project. We've now scored all of our films, or all of our features with Catherine and a bunch of other things. And so we have a project that's called Night Kisses, and that's like our scoring collective project. And it's like kind of whatever film scores we do, we just do under that name. And so the Clickbait score actually got picked up by a record label called Plaza Mayer. They're a European label, and so that came out a little bit ago, even though the movie's not quite out yet. So that was cool, and so it's available on like all the Spotify and iTunes and wherever else one listens to music. And so so we made the music video. Most of it is like score. It's kind of traditional. Well, I wouldn't call it traditional, but just instrumental score. But there are a couple of songs that are vocal driven that we wrote that Sophia sings on. And so Broken Heart is one of those, and that's kind of been the single on the record, and it's done well. It's gotten a lot of good response, a lot of press, and we had fun making the music video for it. And the music video, if anybody wants to watch, if you search Night Kisses Broken Heart, you can see the music video, and it's not exactly like the movie, but it's all about the same themes as the movie. Mm-hmm. So it's all about how people. The movie's called Clickbait, and a lot of the music video is like this character doing social media posts that are like the kinds of things that people like on or heart, and then the kinds of things that they should probably respond to but don't. So it's about the contrast between like what's actually important to you and what actually gathers like a big social media response.
But I wrote a new song for Catherine's show, Bring Us Your Women, this past month about Medusa, and it's just like feminist punk music, basically. So I definitely just want to do like a loud, angry rock band again. That's been kind of
Yeah.
The Medusa song is
The
really
movie
cool.
does yeah. I'll say the movie does have great music, and I love the movie. I actually had it in my top 6 list of the year.
Yeah,
and not just
thank
because you
for that.
guys are here and I like you, but I thought the
Not
movie was
just
great.
because I sent you that check.
Right.
Becky sent you a check, so yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, like what you said though, I always like stuff where just on the surface you can just enjoy it as like a fun movie, but if you pay attention or look deeper, there's a lot more stuff going on.
Yeah, that's always our goal. I mean, it's a hard thing to achieve, but that's always the goal, is to try to create something that's just, and I think this movie is by far our most like fun movie to watch, just if you're like, oh, I want to watch a fun movie. But hopefully we still captured a lot of the stuff to think about and the kind of subtext of everything and all that. That was what we were trying to do with it. So thanks for enjoying it. Thank you for putting it on your list. And
You're very well. Yeah.
Yeah. We're also playing. I don't know if I'm interrupting your questions, but we're also playing.
That's all right.
This weekend, the film is playing in Manchester, UK, not New Hampshire, at the Starburst Film Festival, which is super awesome. I imagine you're familiar with Starburst magazine.
No, I'm
Okay.
not actually.
Okay, so I grew up like reading.
Not nearly smart as you gave me credit for.
Yeah.
But,
So Starburst is like it's probably the biggest like UK genre magazine. Yeah, it's still published,
It was like on the shelves with Fangoria back in the day. Basically.
Yeah, like I used to go pick up my Fangoria and my Starburst and my Starlog and my all those kind of magazines were always on the shelf together. And Starburst was an import, so it was like I got it like the comic shop usually had it. But yeah, it was always a really great magazine, and we really liked it. And they've been really kind to us about reviewing all of our films, and we've gotten good response from them. And they're screening Clickbait this weekend, Saturday. And the guests of honor at the festival, we unfortunately can't attend. We can't afford to fly to England right now. But Lloyd Kaufman is going to be there as a guest of honor, and Luigi Cozzi, who did Star Crash, and he worked with Argento in a bunch of films. So those are the two like big guests that they have there, and they have a bunch of other cool things. And like we went to it a few years ago
with Flood of the
Tribbids, and we had an awesome time. They're amazing people, and they put on a really fun festival as well. Yeah, it was really fun, and they do a lot of like new films, but they also mix it with a lot of like repertory stuff, and they had like panels on like the creation of Star Wars last time.
Ray Harryhausen's like family was there with like his.
Nice.
Yeah, we saw figures. Like we saw like a whole bunch of original Ray Harryhausen figures, and it was really cool. But anyway, so we can't go so we're super sad. But Clickbait is playing there this weekend as well. So we have a nice march of festivals here. The nice this week is really two really great festivals that we love. So it's quite an honor.
What was the difference between Blood of the Tribbids and Clickbait as far as on the festival scene? Because maybe I'm wrong here, but I think Blood of the Tribbids wouldn't seem quite as accessible to every audience.
It's really not, but Blood of the Tribbids, it's like if you understand the niche thing that we're doing, which is like very specifically like a vampire film from 1972, like then they would program it and they'd be like, wow, you made like this weird film. Like, why did you do that? But we have to program it because we totally get what you did. So it did pretty well amongst like horror and like grindsploitation fests and like kind of underground festivals. It did pretty good. But we were definitely niche. And on the audiences that had no idea what the actual thing we were paying homage to, they were just like, oh, it's just like a gothic vampire thing. It's like, even those audiences, when they got stuck in the screening, were like, it's gothic vamps. That's fine.
Yeah, it kind of did, like, people got it more than I would have expected.
Yeah.
It was we kind of made it, and we're like, this is so niche. But people were really responsive to it. I mean, obviously not everybody loves it or whatever, but it was a good response. We were surprised at how good the response was to it, and we won a bunch of awards, and people were nice to us. And at Buff we actually won the Best New England Film Trophy, which is I don't know if have you seen the Buff trophies?
Yeah, they're
They're awesome.
wild.
They're really, really
Deranged
awesome.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great.
So that was like one of my life goals was like to get a Buff trophy. So it was very exciting to win for Blow the Tributes because I was like, now I own a Buff trophy. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And Clickbait's done well too, but it hasn't really, like a lot of the hardcore horror festivals have been like, oh, it's too funny. Whatever, it's not.
That's something to think about, because it doesn't necessarily fit in to any genre, I guess.
Yeah, it's a very hard sell by what genre it is. And we did have a bunch of like bigger festivals, like especially the horror driven ones. They were like, we really liked it, and here are all the things we liked about it, and we just like can't quite figure out what to do with it, or how to like put it in with the rest of the programming, and it's kind of, it just is. But it did well at like overall genre fest and at like underground fest, so and in England, definitely. Yeah. So I think the satire of it is actually quite like British in a way. It's dry. It's kind of like a very droll, weird, that kind of humor. Somebody, we got a review. We haven't really sent it out for reviews, but we got a few reviews. And I think one of the reviewers said it was kind of like a Paul Bartel movie. Paul Bartel eating Raoul?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was actually one of Troy's favorites when I was a kid.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I probably watched it way too young, but
yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
You have a bad older brother, I think.
Right.
So like one of the reviewers said that, and then one of our friends also said he thought it was like that. I'm like, yeah, that kind of is the tone of it. It's like a weird, dark comedy, and it has like horror elements, but it's like a confusing thing to sell to people in a way. Yeah. So it's done fine. We never do the right thing. It's fine. We never just make a straight slasher that's gonna do great. Yeah. We probably would benefit from just making like a really straightforward, very not interesting movie at all. But no. We just can't bring ourselves to do it.
Yeah. Oh, I understand. Now, obviously, you talk about Clickbait, but do you have anything in the works? Yeah, we finished something, didn't you?
Oh, we just we decided we wanted to do some festival stuff this year, but we didn't really have our own big movie, a feature this year that we were gonna have ready. So we did work on a couple of other people's movies. Sophia was the cinematographer on a new Izzy Lee movie that's going to be coming to festival soon. And then we just wrapped on a film called Half Cocked. It's also a short film that Sophia and I produced, and Sophia was the cinematographer on. And I think it's a really funny, I haven't seen the movie, but it's a really funny script, and I think the shoot went well. The premise is like there are these two scientists, and they basically find the secret to raising people from the dead, to giving life back. And so they dig up this guy and they revive him, and he's just like really pissed off that he's alive again because he really was excited to be dead. And so the whole rest of the movie is them like hanging out with him, and he's just like grumpy to be alive, and he keeps trying to kill himself, but he can't die because he's been given this treatment. And so that's the premise. It's like a weird dark horror comedy film, and I think that'll be really cool once it's done. So I think hopefully you'll be seeing that on the circuit in the next couple of months. Yeah. We're trying to figure out our next feature, so I really want to shoot something by the end of the year again. And we got some scripts in the works. It's just finding the resources to do it. It's always the difficult part. If anybody wants to give us a bunch of money, we're ready to shoot at all times. We just need cash. Fair enough. We'll take your money. Not necessarily your money, but anybody.
I understand. Yeah.
Or I'll take your money too.
I'm kind of worried about going to Buff now. I'm getting like mugged.
Don't bring. Yeah, maybe just credit.
Sleep with one eye
open.
I assume like in the, I don't even say horror genre, but in the weird genre, I guess. Is that where you're gonna like your next feature? Do you have any idea of what genre it would be?
Yeah, I really I have a script about a woman who it begins with her waking up in the hospital and being told she just gave birth and being handed a baby. And so it's like very much like a psychological thriller because she really doesn't think that that's her life, and she goes back to like a house with like a great husband, and like she's very confused by it all. And so it's kind of like in the vein of like a Stepford Wives or The Omen, more psycho than like a straight horror.
Like a 70s psychological thriller.
Very 70s style.
Yeah.
So that's hopefully I always tell people like what my next project is, and then I look back at interviews like a year later, I'm like, well, that never happened. But I did something else, you know? Uh-huh. But that's the one that's most on my mind to shoot this year. It's pretty contained, so.
Yeah. We've got a lot of scripts in the works, and it ends up being just what is like the most feasible or logical thing for us to do next, and that can change. Tomorrow we could decide something else, but we want to do something soon. So there's plenty of ideas. It's just a matter of like figuring out which one and which resources are there and how to best attack that next. And in the meantime, we'll be traveling around the festival circuit with those shorts, and Clickbait will be out sometime this year. We don't have a release date. This company ITN is our agency and our domestic distributor at least, and so they'll be putting it out. I'm guessing maybe summer. We don't have a date yet, but I'm guessing something like summer.
Yeah. Do you write the scripts together or separately, or how does that work?
I give Michael all of my great ideas, but then usually, he writes them primarily at least the basics of it, the house, because I'm not a person that can sit at a computer and write. But then I usually come along again in the editing phase and like, nope, add this. So at the end of it,
we work together. It's just a different, it's like a process where we work individually but together, kind of, if that makes sense.
And usually before you even write anything, like we've written an outline, we've discussed like every turn of the thing and stuff. So
I'm usually writing the like scene to scene dialogue and that kind of stuff.
He's the one actually opening Final Draft or whatever, whatever program he uses. And I'm much more visual. I'll be like, and this scene is like this person on fire and like floating through the air, and I'm like describing like the camera stuff because that's what I most care about. I'm like, that's not a scene; it's just a shot that you want to do. So. But it's good. It's collaborative, for sure.
And Clickbait had kind of a weird origin. The short version of it is that it started out as a movie that Brandy was developing with this guy who wrote the first draft, Jeremy Long. And I got involved a little bit initially just to shoot it. And then gradually we took over more and more. And then basically I did essentially like a pretty substantial rewrite of the whole thing. And it kept a lot of, Jeremy had a lot of cool ideas about how the characters worked, and that was what really attracted me to the script in the first place was the characters were cool. I liked the concept, and then I kind of reworked it to be something that we would, like a film that we would make and has our kind of social commentary and our structure to it. And
I added the toot strudels. So
and Sophia added the
toot welcome.
Yeah. So none of that was in the...
no, there were no toot strudels in the script.
Will we see either of you singing at karaoke on Saturday night?
Oh man, I cannot do karaoke at all, which is really hilarious. Being like a punk singer, like a person that gets on stage and sings in front of people, it's awful for me. I have the worst time.
I feel like I'll probably do something stupid.
Yeah.
Just for fun.
Well, maybe I'll start practicing. I'll pick something and I'll practice.
I think practicing karaoke is kind of, there's something wrong about that.
There is, but it's always gone so good.
I
don't even know.
Last year, because it takes me a lot of alcohol to do karaoke.
Yeah.
I don't really drink any. Well, I'll probably have something, but last year was 8 hard ciders before I had the courage to do it. So I don't know if I'll do it this year. Last year was Monster Mash, and Monster Mash, and everyone really dug it. So.
Yeah, that's a good choice.
It's a regional hit.
Yeah, written at Somerville.
I even had backup dancers, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's a Somerville song, right? It was written in Somerville.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Bobby Boris Pickett.
Yeah.
Right.
Lived in Somerville.
Was from Somerville.
Yep.
I did not realize that.
True story.
I'm just gonna lie now and say I knew that. And that's why.
Yeah.
Well, you know it now. It's like knowing it.
Yeah.
That's why you have us on the show, because we bring the important information.
Knowledge, exactly.
The local knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah. I think we actually have Jim McDonough on the line as well.
Oh God.
That guy.
Oh, hey ho! Hello.
Well, that's the end of that.
Yeah.
Now I got. Tell me if I sound terrible because I got you on speaker, and I'm only on speaker because I can't really hear if I put it to the head, and I'm worried about putting the phone to the head because I feel like it's going to give me a tumor.
Wow.
Did you always have that heavy Boston accent? I don't remember it last year. Something you picked up since last year?
It comes and goes. I just had a few Budweisers.
Oh, all right.
Jim is true blue. He's true blue.
Jim's a wicked pissa.
Yeah.
Hello, Jim.
It's great to hear you guys' voice. I can't wait to see you next week.
Yeah. I've got a bad movie for you.
No, that's my brand. I'm coming. I'm going to be there Wednesday. I can't wait.
Yeah, that wasn't the movie I meant though. That may be true too. Yeah. No, so Jim, I'm going to talk about Jim now for a second. He makes crazy, insane, awesome films that like you feel like you're living in his brain as you watch them, and that's like a really frightening thing, but also a really good thing. It's awesome. They're always entertaining. They're always weird. They're always surprising, and a lot of them are, Jim can correct me if I'm misspeaking, but he does a lot of green screen stuff and a lot of stop motion stuff and a lot of like blending different like people with action figures and little models and all kinds of things like that. So it's a really cool, like, almost like a multimedia craziness project. And I love his work. I'm a fan. First.
We should let Jim have it.
No. This is the important part. I'm almost there.
I was hoping that was going to be the podcast. Just Mike keeping going.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful and warm and kind.
So we watched this movie. Repo Chick. Do you know Repo Chick? Kind of a sequel to Repo Men, but not really. Made by Alex Cox. And it's kind of Jim McDonough style of film. It's all like green screen. It blends like weird, like Matchbox cars with things. It's a crazy art. And I'm watching this and I'm like, this is a film that could have been made by Jim McDonough, except that if it would have been much better. That's the only difference. It's like if Jim McDonough were bad at making films, Repo Chick would have been film. So I had to buy it on Blu-ray because it's really hard to find. And I wanted to see it, and I watched it, and now I'm gonna burden Jim by giving it to him.
Oh my goodness! This gift. He's bearing gifts. For God damn it! Wow, thank you. This is exciting. Well, for starters, Michael and Sophia, Jesus Christ, I can't believe. The reason I'm have any knowledge of Buff is because of those folks and the people I met in Somerville one night. And I'm huge fans of them as artists and people, and they drive me to freaking make more stupid shit. But I love you guys' stuff. I can't wait to see Clickbait. For God damn it!
Thank you.
Yeah. And honestly, I met Jim through Michael. Michael's like, I think you'd like him, and I think you'd like his stuff. And so that's
wrong.
how I discovered.
But...
Yeah. I was like, oh man, well, what are you thinking? But no, it was.
But now you can't get rid of it.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. It's well, it's funny. Boston Underground Film Festival is very near and dear in my heart as far as going and spending time and have experience there. But the Bad Film Festival is probably the one that most represents my brand. So to your point, yeah, bad is it's like it is what it is. It is what it is.
I love Tiny Clones last year, and
I'm sorry.
No, because it kind of same idea but different from the Clickbait, where you can watch it and it's just like it's a silly, fun thing. But I actually thought there was a lot of meaning in Tiny Clones, as I said, and I think you used the quote, is it's like Black Mirror for idiots.
Yeah, idiots. Yeah, definitely idiots. Yeah, the idiots part especially.
No, but I like it.
Yeah, it's funny. That was a quick project, and by my definition, it was only 3 months in the basement. And see, I kind of go back and forth between the basement and the editing room, so it's like 2 levels more or less. Middle. It's back and forth. That was only 3 months, where the latest one was 10, and it's just usually me and I use other folks to get notes, and sometimes I'm lucky enough to have other folks in the movies, but usually it's just me and running around in my crazy house. And now, unfortunately, there's a puppy added to the mix, so it's a little bit of chaos, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I expect the
Plus, Tiny Clones, I don't feel nearly as bad after I watched it. Like if you watch Black Mirror, you just like usually like really depressed. It's like it's very like.
There's actually a lot of violence. There's a lot of violence in Tiny Clones, but it's very stupid, silly. You know,
Yeah.
So I hope I can get away with it because I mean I'm obviously against violence, even though about probably 30% of my films my head blows up or in some way, fashion or form. But I feel for some reason I feel less guilty about the violence if it's me if it's on myself, you know.
Mm-hmm. By the way, the new movie the new short you're having is "I Owe You One Banana and Two Black Eyes," which is an amazing title.
It's brevity. Yeah, not a little long. But yeah, so sorry, go on.
I was just saying, where did that title come from?
So John Sapienza, a good friend of mine, who ironically, like Michael and Sophia, became close and got to know from Boston Underground Film Festival. Him and Phil Haley and Adam and the John Caron, a few of them made a documentary called My Name is Jonah. So I met them through Boston Underground Film Festival, and then JB and I started writing things here and there. I'd help him; he'd help me write, and he'd give me great notes, and he would add great ideas. So two of my Idioms films that played at Boston Underground, he helped me with that, and he kept telling me he was going to finish this hip hop album, and he kept saying, when we finish, we'd love to have you make a video. And of course I was excited to hear it and excited to be part of it. But this was like over a couple of years. And then, so he helped me write Tiny Clones. And then by the end of Tiny Clones, the album was done, and he let me kind of go through the album. I've never done a music video. And so, I love certain music videos and some music videos I don't. So I guess I kind of wanted to go into it with maybe in an egotistical sense. I wanted to tell a tiny, stupid, ridiculous story. And I wanted to kind of go through the music and find the best fit there. So, which is probably the back ass. You know, I'm sure Michael and Sophia would hate to work to meet. If they want to do a music video with someone, and then they're saying they want to kind of work the story around the song versus the other way around. But but it happened just coincidentally on the album to be a song that felt perfect and was completely cohesive with my idea, which was I wanted to make a whole silly video where the whole thing was a car chase, more or less. And then ultimately it became, animals in a car chase and puppets and whatnot. And there happened to be one song on their album that basically really fit. And I liked the song the most, the tempo and the lyrics and everything kind of worked. So, the goal was to not have an abstract music video. Not saying I have a problem with abstract videos, but I wanted to kind of have a story within the song, and it felt like it fit. So it was my first time kind of editing to music more versus making the thing and then having the music scored to the film. So that was a fun and challenging experience. And I tend to find that I always go into these stupid videos with a plan of spending 3 weeks on it, where I'm not going to use green screen. I'm going to keep it simple, and I'm going to use, techniques I've used before in the past, and it's going to be easy and it's going to be done. I'm not going to spend a ton of time. And that was the goal for this one. And then what ends up happening is I get excited about trying new things, and I constantly just want to try new things and learn new things. And they're always floppy because every time you're seeing a thing of mine, there's a lot of new things, and I don't catch a lot of weird shit. And then I pay a million of ridiculous amounts of attention to stupid shit that no one notices. So it's a weird blend of like sloppy shit. You'll see something on there that I probably didn't catch. And then ridiculous minutia I spent on frames. So it's weird. And it's almost like a sickness and happiness at the same time when I'm making these things. But this one was no different. So what was intended to be 3 weeks ended up being 10 months. But yeah, so that's how they go when you're kind of working 20 to 30 to 40 minutes a day.
So why does it take the 10 months? Is it because you're, like you said, you're doing like a half hour a day, or what takes the most amount of time?
Partly it's the fact that I have, a full-time job that requires, it's a legit especially more so than my last job. My last job, I could have coasted a little bit and it was a little easier. This job, I got to work a good solid, 45, 50 hours. So I have that hours, and then I got 2 awesome kids and a fantastic wife. And so we got a lot going on with them. And now, unfortunately, I threw a puppy in the mix, but I keep bringing up the puppy. But so it's a lot of shit going on. So you got to really be good at compartmentalizing your time. And it's really hard to like make stuff when you have all the stuff going on. But as long as you kind of put a little time, you put 10 to 15 minutes aside. If you block that time out, and it can stretch to 30 to 40. You do that every day. It's crazy what you can accomplish. Like freaking, I know it's not a true story, but Andy Dufresne gets out of Shawshank, like, clipping a tiny bit every day of that stupid wall. So if you just kind of do something a little bit every day, you can get there. So, you put that, but the reality is though, it's not just the amount of time per day. It's the fact that I'm kind of building everything you see, either by hand or by computer. So I try to I will blend a little bit of stock, but I try to physically either or digitally kind of create a lot of the layers. Because a lot of the artists I love, like Michael and Sophia and folks that are just true to their vision, I find the common theme of artists that I always respect is you kind of get in, you go into their art and you're in their world. To Michael's, point earlier, you step into their world, hopefully, whether it's Tim Burton or whoever, early Tim Burton, but when you get in, you feel like you're getting into another world. So hopefully you if I'm going to bring you into my movie, I want to have my world created. So I'm going to try to control every layer of that, whether it's turning a blanket into a hill with my knee. Well, by the way, I had no idea. Fred Rogers did that as well. But in fairness, when I did it for the new one, I had not seen the documentary. So apparently Fred Rogers did that when he was he mentions that in the documentary. But I had no awareness of that technique.
Are you saying you're better than Mr. Rogers?
On the record. But,
Are you saying you're better than Mr. Rogers, though, you just said?
No. I'm not even close. In fact, Fred Rogers, because I know, Michael, you're a fan of the documentary. Fred Rogers, actually, when I saw that movie in the summer, I actually almost changed a lot of the plot of my new one because it just kind of broke my heart, him thinking of the thought of, even if, the stuff I'm making isn't intended for children, but it just breaks my heart, the thought of children seeing the stuff, and all this stuff has influence. So I almost changed the plot of, I can say plot, you see it, you're going to laugh at the fact that I called it a plot. But it almost changed some of the themes of the film based on that documentary, but I kind of ended up sticking to my guns, literally.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if it's just my imagination, but I think one of the bunnies is right up the 2-minute mark. I think he's kind of based on Michael Epstein. It looks very similar.
Well, yeah, I did not make it too close because I know Michael and Sophia are very powerful lawyers, but I borrowed likeness within the copywritten laws as I understand them in my lawyers. But I'm not going to say anything on the record officially, but you can, I like to think of this stuff as abstract. So if you took that meaning, I can't admit to anything more than that.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to make any comments on it right now, but our legal team is reviewing it. And
it was a very attractive bunny. So.
I'm so excited.
Well, there was. I gave Mike.
Yeah, we've seen it.
I said Michael months ago, I think.
We did watch it. Sophia watched it too. She just can't remember anything. She was brain
That's okay.
Don't be mean to her.
I didn't know the title, I think, when I saw it.
No, we saw it. It's awesome. I loved it. And we already saw it, and we recommend that everybody else go see it. So
yeah.
Thank you.
When he sent it to me, he told me it was a documentary. I didn't know what's going on. But...
Well, so Neil asked for a sneak peek tonight before we talked, and I sent it to him. And the screenshot alone is a plush bunny that, in order to get, so there's 2 bunnies rapping in the video. And there's a tiger and a shark that chase those bunnies. I don't think I can really spoil this. But so the bunnies, one of the bunnies, because it's 2 guys rapping, and then there's I think there's a gal on backup vocals named Tara who I haven't met. But the 2 guys that are rapping that I did one bunny I used puppetry, and I had to learn by hand the song of one of the rappers, and then the other one I had to learn by verbal, meaning lip sync, I guess you could say. So I kind of painted my face white, and extra. Well, I'm very white as it is, but I used actual white. So it's over my lips and face.
Did white face. Okay.
Yeah. Like real white, like extra white, like paint.
Right.
Paint.
Yeah.
So I took
Not
that,
white
and then I
face.
learned. So I videotaped my mouth rapping, and I superimposed that extra white mouth rapping on a white plush bunny toy. So hopefully it gives the appearance that the small bunny rabbit is actually rapping, and it's So like you didn't even ask these questions, but I'm giving you a lot of these long drawn out.
I thought it was just a rapping bunny. I didn't even know it was your mouth.
Well, then, so fair enough. Special effects work for you.
Yeah.
We're gonna let Jim take over. We feel like we've interfered enough with your time.
Well, I appreciate you both being on.
Yeah. We're really looking forward to hanging out with you all at the Boston Underground, and have a great rest of the show. Thanks for having us on. We had fun rambling about nonsense, and that's it.
Well, thank you both for being on.
Thank you
much.
much.
See you guys.
We wish you all the best.
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna. That was very cool. Oh, by the way, Sophia and Michael, they're also Music of the Month. So all the music you're listening to tonight are from them.
Who else is on the line there?
My brother, Troy.
Of course, Troy. How are you, Troy? Good to hear you.
I'm wonderful. Good to hear from you again. How's everything going?
Everything's going great. And I'm sorry, I'm going to drop my third reference, but I remember when we first spoke over the phone, met, I'd say virtually, but I wouldn't call this virtually. What is this, Neil? Is this virtually? What's the term?
Now you're just blowing my mind. I think, I don't
Telecommunication-y?
Yeah,
telecommunication or whatever. We talked about your dog too, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
You asked me about what type of dog I want to get and what kind of temperament size, and we had a conversation during the podcast with dog. So update since then, that was like last March. So we just got a puppy like 2 weeks ago.
Awesome.
And it's been awesome but chaotic.
Oh, yeah. Yep. That's what happens. What'd you end up getting, or did you get like a mixed or?
I believe in rescue, and I feel guilty being part of this. I'm going to really pull a sideway move here, where everything's about rescue here, and then we pulled with a villain. That, in the end of the movie, where the villain we find out he's evil. I did not go rescue route because my youngest son has asthma, and I was selfishly just trying to think about how do we make a dog work with. So we went with a breeder dog, which basically specifically a Labradoodle, an Australian Labradoodle, which is very sweet, very nice dog. Doesn't appear to shed. Is very smart. We love her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nope, that's good to hear. I do remember our last time, and that was one of our topics.
Yeah.
So I hope your dog is doing well.
Oh, yep. I think we had the 2 last time. Maybe we only had the 1.
No, I think you just had the 1. I think.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe you might.
Yeah, then we got her brother. So now we have 2.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I am dogless.
You can always come and visit my dogs.
I do.
Uncle Neil, you can always come over.
Mm-hmm.
Doggy day. You guys not that far. So you, Neil, you excited? And Troy, you possibly coming to Boston Underground or what?
Not this year, but I'm hoping to make the scene next year.
Excellent.
I'm going to make him go next year.
Yeah.
I'll drag him.
He's not going to tell me. He's just going to bring me and say, okay, we're going to go up and see a movie. Then 4 days later, I'll be like, holy shit, what happened?
You do go into a little bit of a cave there. Like there's a weird thing that happens in so many films that when you walk outside, you kind of react strangely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I did a film festival last year that was like 10 days, I think.
The Buffalo.
What film was that?
Yeah, Buffalo. Fantastic film. It's fantastic. I love the festival. I love the guy who runs it. Yeah, but it's a very long name, I have to say. It's like the Buffalo Fantastic Dream Festival. It's too long. I remember when you went. I like.
Yeah, from Facebook. Yeah, it's supposed to be a great festival. Oh, that's awesome.
It is, but by the end though, you are just kind of delirious. You're like, it's like 10 days of like 10 hours of movies. But it's still a good time, though.
How many
That's a
days did you go?
commitment, though.
We went the whole time.
Wow. Well, that's the part that I just can't get away with. So Boston Underground is typically the only fest one per year that I just, because of all the, the crap I got going on with all the the stuff, the commitments. It's hard to get out of the house now, just to get out of the house, period, with little kids. So that's the only one that I get to kind of go for a bunch of days. One of these days, I would love to go to some of these other big genre festivals, obviously, like, there's a bunch of great ones I would love to visit too, but it's hard. It's expensive too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I imagine it would be.
Yeah, I'd like to do so. I really have a good time at the festivals. I'd like to do some more this year, maybe some more of the local ones. I know you actually invited me some last year, but last year I was in and out of a lot of pain, which I found out was, I had multiple hernias. So this year, hopefully, it'll be pain-free, so I'll make it out to some more stuff.
I'm happy to hear how well you're doing, buddy. You seem like you're much more healthier than ever, and I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel much better. Not just physically, but mentally. I'm feeling good.
That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. So how many days did you say? Are you going to be? You're not going to be at all 5 days.
No, well, the thing about I want to emphasize, especially because it's an official broadcast for the world. 5 days. I say that just for my employers. The festivals don't go on all day, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you don't mind, Neil, if I talk to employers as well here. So it does not go on during the day. I'm going to put in a full day of work, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, if my employees are listening. Sure. But after those days, if I'm putting in a full day, the films start anywhere from 5:30 to whatever. So my expectation and hope is like the last 5 years, I'm there 5 days. Worst case scenario, 4. If I'm there 3, I'll be depressed for a year. But I'm going to be there a lot, and that's I love it. It's like my Christmas. That time of year, that just between the people and the films and the parties, karaoke party especially, the relationships, I hate to use the word network, and I feel nauseous that came out of my mouth, but just like you get to know people that in the traditional sense, definition of networking, I've made stuff with so many people from Boston Underground Film Festival. So in that sense, I'm going to use that word, networking. And you never know who you could meet. You never know what that meeting could turn into. I'm not, that's not the expectation for me, but it's just, it's summer camp for me. But, it's kind of fun. It's exciting. Some of the people I've worked with, like Timothy Fife last year, and that guy has worked on some really talented folks' productions, and it's such an honor that I had any affiliation with that dude. And it's only because of me going to Boston Underground and him thinking, all right, that schmuck probably, maybe he's not that bad. He didn't probably see my stuff. But because of my affiliation, I was lucky enough to kind of have him score my film last year, Tiny Fun. So that's it's cool. It's a great experience every year. It's my Christmas.
Yeah. I mentioned this recently with both of us, me and Tim Fife on Facebook. It was like 6 years ago. His partner in Let's Be Real, Bunny Wonderland, invited me to interview Lloyd Kaufman at their event, and so I went there and did the interview. But Timothy Fife didn't know, and so he was just wondering why this random dude just showed up and starts interviewing his guest on their stage. But and then I don't think I remember him not really liking me at the time. But then years later, we've not like he was get the hell out of here. But I think he was just confused why I was there. But we became friends. It was
kind of like who's this?
Yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, it's a fun time. I mean, if I was I won the lottery, or if I was retired, I would love to go to all the big ones and go to all the, many of them, and hopefully all the small and medium ones. It's so much fun, because it's, part of you, I don't know if you agree, Neil and Troy, but there's a sad part of me that thinks that film's a little bit of a dying art, and I say it like it's a dying art in the sense that, not talking even about my next generation, my kids are still into movies, but you just worry about, 30, 40, 50 years from now. And so you kind of, we might be, you know, the last folks in a lot of way, and you know, generationally. So you gotta kind of maintain these communities, and as long as these communities are going and they're relevant, we can, you know, it's alive. But without I don't think without the communities, it will stay alive, kind of thing, you know, just because of the way technology is going.
Yeah, especially like if you're talking about like watching movies at the theater, because it is, you know, going all to streaming. And
I always
so you got to get people.
Thing.
Yeah, I always get depressed when I see people on Facebook, like when they're like, "I hate going to see a movie at the theater." And to me, there's no. I mean, I've watched plenty of stuff at home, stuff, but if given the choice, there's nothing like watching a movie at the theater.
Well, I think, you know, there's obviously situations where we all are guilty of saying, you know, I'd rather just stay home and watch it. But, you know, it means I think we all got to step up our game. And I say all, meaning like folks that own theaters, filmmakers, everybody. You got to give people a reason to get out of their house. And in some cases, it's the product on the screen. In some cases, it's the experience, whether it's the festival or whether it's, you know, I Am a Knife with Legs. Did you ever see that movie, Neil?
No. I like the name.
So, oh my God, you need to seek this movie out. It's one of my favorite comedies, and I'm lucky enough to say that in 2015, when the first time I had ever entered or shown up at a festival or gone or had any affiliation, when Manacone played there, it opened for his Bennett Jones's film I Am a Knife with Legs, which is a feature-length, surreal, crazy comedy. It was such an honor. It felt similar to mine, but I don't even want to say that because it's so good. But you know, a film like that, it's like the crowd's going crazy, and there's something there that's hard to put a finger on. I mean, that's the real thing. And when then you got other movies like the Rocky Horror Picture. So there's certain films that have like, you know, whether sometimes it's a camp element, whatever it is, a participatory element. But I think folks got to think outside. I hate to use that word too, outside the box. But like think of ways to make it unique or make it interesting. In some cases, it's because it's really bad, like The Room. But you know, but you watch like freaking that guy's still selling out screenings across the country with that silly film, and you know you can make fun of the movie, but there's an experience and there's a society. You know, there's literally a society around that movie now, and it doesn't have to. Those societies don't have to be reserved around bad movies. They can be reserved. You know, you can build that around, you know, levels of quality. I was not, you know, I can't put myself in that camp. That's, you know, I'm more in the Room camp, but I'm saying for other folks, you know.
Yeah. There's something about watching something with a group of like-minded people, and you know you're all sharing the same experience, and it really adds to it.
God, yeah. Well, the reality is I mean, you know, online you have these experiences because, you know, we're all, I think the three of us are old enough to remember a time where there really was no shared online experience. You know, I'm 44 years old, and for a great majority of my life, there was nothing. So you either met these people in your life or most likely you didn't. And so, you know, there was, in my case, I didn't have anyone that I could really talk to. No, there was no one, I didn't even know where to begin, but I like, you know, like any culture or town, sports was the big thing. So, you know, people like movies, but that was, you know, I felt like I was really geeking out and almost, I had a pain in my heart because I liked them so much and I wasn't doing anything about it. But like, I didn't know what that was, and then all of a sudden you don't really find like-minded folks like that typically. The internet helped, but then these festivals, it becomes, you know, they become real relationships, and you get to know people, and you know, in some cases form friendships, and you know, creative partnerships. You know.
So, are you going to sing karaoke this year?
So yeah, my karaoke. This will be I've been to Boston Underground this is my 5th year in a row going, and my 3rd year in a row doing karaoke, and I'm definitely my karaoke is very much similar to my films. It's there's not a lot of quality going on, there's a lot of heart, and there's a lot of performance art, maybe you could say. There's not a lot of talent, is all I'm saying, but I will I'll give it all I got. I'll give it all I got.
Yeah. See, I don't know a lot about karaoke. I've done it only a few times, but I do enjoy it. If I did an encore of my last year's song, is that like looked down upon? Are you supposed to always do something new?
I think you should. If you got, I think that's a smart route because there's a lot of the folks won't be there, and you crushed it. So, you give them the hit, but then you gotta get out of your comfort zone. You gotta try
new
something
stuff too.
Yep, that makes sense.
Right, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You earn the folks that have, you gotta get the folks in the room on your side there. But it is a very accepting crowd. They're very warm, and they've put up with my bullshit at these karaoke because I kind of make a mockery a little bit, but they've been really kind.
Yeah, this is a true story. Not joking. When I last year, I also went to London for Fright Fest, a convention, and like three people came up and told me that they loved my Monster Mash at Buff, and
you're kidding me? 3 people from England?
Yeah, I'm serious.
That's
wild.
Well, they had it on their Instagram page, didn't they? Boston Underground put it on their Instagram.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I assume they were at Buff. Maybe they did. Maybe they watched it on there. But either way, I was like, wow, that's very bizarre. But it made me happy. Yeah. So, did your kids help out on this one?
They did, yeah. So I have a 9 and 7-year-old. They're I mentioned earlier I came from a community that was very sports focused, and I was I did like sports. So there's a part of me, I movies was my first passion. But growing up on the South Shore of Massachusetts, I played sports. So I kind of wanted my kids to play sports for a lot of reasons, but for the most part, they could care less. And so they're very creative themselves. They love to draw. They love to make stuff. And in this case, my oldest helped me with an idea for the end of credits. Like, I don't know what they call that. Like the end of credit, like a Marvel movie does, like the end credit scene.
Yep.
So he actually threw out an idea. I didn't have any plan on doing anything, but he came up with that. So I gave him some additional writing credits, my 9-year-old. And then my 7-year-old helped with puppetry and a couple of the shots. And he was excited to help. I typically try to get all of my kids, well, all plural, 2 of them. I try to get them involved in every one of them if I can. Like most of them, either whether it's acting or whatever. I put them to work. They like it though. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. I hope to one day be in a Jim McDonough movie.
I would love to have you, Neil. The problem is like when I talk to people about this, just know it could be like in 2 months, or it could be my snail pace. It could be 2 years. Like I make one thing a year right now. I hope you're in this one. I have no idea what it is. We got to talk though.
All right. Yeah, I would definitely like to do this.
I got a lot of ideas.
I would have a lot of fun.
They're all bad.
That's all right. But they're all good too.
It's like I guess maybe that good bad, that kind of when you pull a nose hair out, you hate it, but it's like there's a weird sensation.
I know exactly what you mean. I have I don't know what that says about
cry
me.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Sometimes the hair comes out a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes there'll be like a little bit of a root, like when you pull the nose hair out.
Ooh.
Which I hear is it's not supposed to be good for you. You're supposed to cut them, but yeah, I pull them out. I guess they grow back thicker.
I don't, I'm not saying I like it. I'm not like a weirdo like you. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Listen, my films are very much a niche audience, just like people who like to pull their nose hairs out, and guys who host podcasts.
Yeah, I probably was going a little too far with it, but yeah, it's something I really.
Yeah, we didn't know you were passionate about this.
Yeah.
There are those that kind of like the pleasure pain thing of the pulling the nose hair, and then there's you real freaks, that get together at your conventions.
I'm like Belushi in Little Shop of Horrors, who is going for the root canal.
Oh.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
Oh, it's Bill Murray.
Yeah.
I knew it was somebody. Jack Nicholson.
Neil, have you gotten...
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. This is Josh Show.
That's all right.
What am I? All of a sudden, I'm like cutting you guys off. Sorry about that.
Sorry. It was nothing important. So. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, did you, in this situation where you have access to screening the films, but you know you can go see them next week, are you watching some of them at home right now, or are you waiting to see them?
The way I plan out, because I would prefer to see them at the theater, but currently I'm scheduling some interviews. So if I schedule an interview, I would like to watch it at home so I could prepare for the interview.
Makes sense.
Yeah. But if not, I would prefer to watch it for the first time on the big screen.
So have you seen a lot of things yet?
No, I haven't. But I actually yours. Well, I saw Clickbait. I've seen it before, and I saw your thing. But I'm going to be watching Hail Satan because I've got an interview scheduled with Penny Lane, the director, and another one I'm forgetting at the moment. What was it? Let's see here. There might have been Mope. No. It was Happy Face. Happy Face. I'll be watching that probably tomorrow.
Awesome. So I'm actually I'm rather surprised that you didn't cancel the tonight's live podcast after seeing or at least cancel my portion after seeing mine.
No, it was already scheduled, so it's not really.
It was already scheduled. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
No, I've really had a lot of fun watching all your stuff. It was funny actually. Troy and I were at what's the craft store in Michael's?
Oh yeah, yep.
Michael's. Yeah.
And I walked by the house and I was like, "That's the house from Tiny Clone."
He was all excited about it, and the people there were looking at it. It's like, what the hell are these people talking about?
That's a riot. Well, yeah, you guys Seinfeld fans? The show?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Troy is. Yeah.
Yeah, Kramer did his ridiculous tour, which was based on the real Kramer who would do a tour. It's so meta, but so there's for those folks, the young kids don't even watch Seinfeld, unfortunately, Neil and Troy. It's really depressing to me. But
yeah, I saw that they say it's problematic.
Some of them is problematic. I get it, but a lot of it's still fun and funny.
Sure.
But there was, where was I going with this? Can you help me train my thought? But
the tour, something about it was the tour for
the
Kramer.
Kramer
tour. So they based Kramer off a real guy, and Kramer would give a tour. The real Kramer would give a tour of like all the things that he did as Kramer, and it's supposed to be absolutely ridiculous. So then, of course, in a meta style, they did an episode where the Kramer has a tour of all the things that Kramer does and whatever. So when you go through Michael's, you can get the McDonough crazy tour of all, and you can, it's a true story. So I've made a lot of weird films. In the town of Hanson that I live in, there's two situations where I almost got arrested for making my silly things. One of them, I didn't almost get arrested per se, but it was no trespassing. If I got caught, I would have been arrested. It was an old psychiatric hospital in Hanson, or they almost ghost hunters came. And they, I don't know, they didn't do the episode, but it's like this whole old hospital, and I wasn't like I never got in trouble as a kid. I wasn't the type of person that would just kind of like show up there and like cause trouble. But as a grown up making a movie in the year 2012, I want to say, I got asked by some buddies in Australia to participate in a sketch comedy show where I would make 6 1-minute episodes. And I decided to make it on a serial killer who traps like his kidnapping victim, and he starts like picking the guy apart and selling it as beauty products. So for example, he pulls the guy's hair off and he's selling natural hair, not fake hair. And then, so each episode he's torturing the guy and then selling it. So I wanted this guy to live in a weird place. So I never got in trouble growing up, but I sneak into this hospital, and, take video and make my thing there. So I got away with that. And because I got away with that, I got cocky. And then a couple episodes later, and it's called the Digby Thurlow Show. It's on the YouTube. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but it's my kind of, if you're into my stuff, you might like it. But so I make the last episode in another house, and I found this abandoned, burned house in Hanson. I shouldn't probably say that, but this town, I found this house. Mm-hmm. And I decide I want to have one of the episodes, the character, the serial killer in the show, whatever it is, to be in this house. So I go park my car near the house, and I start filming in the house, and then I get out of the house, and all of a sudden, you know, I live in Hanson. It's like it's the South Shore. It's kind of like a farm town, but it's not like I'm not like I don't even want to say it, but it's not like it's a farm town, but it's not that far from Boston. But it felt like all of a sudden it was Deliverance, and these two guys come up to me, and they're like, "Well, what you doing in that house?" And there's no Boston accents. All of a sudden they're right out of Deliverance, and I don't want to like, you know, so they look like the characters. And I'm the one that's wrong because I just spent, you know, 45 minutes filming in this abandoned, burnt house, and I can't justify that. So I just say, listen, I'm making this stupid movie, and I don't like it's going to be an Australian. And by the way, Australian community access. By the way, it's not like this is NBC of Australia. This is literally community access of Australia. So they're saying, well, what you doing? They don't believe me because it's a weird story to tell. And keep in mind, I got this weird big mustache I'm pulling off and like a yellow turtleneck. And it's this character that I'm playing. It's really ridiculous looking. And they're giving me a hard time. So I think it's over. I talk my way out of it. I go home and then I start uploading the footage onto my computer. And then I hear a big knock on the door, and it was the police. And luckily, I know some of the cops that the cops were able to talk to each other and know that it was they didn't like think it was okay. They said never do it again, but they knew, luckily, because the cops I know, some of them know that I make these stupid things, and they were able to verify that I wasn't like trying to damage the house. I didn't make it okay, but they weren't going to arrest me.
Right. So that's better. Anyway.
That was nice. That was nice.
So how long have you been making your stuff?
Well, you would think I'd I'd get the hang of it at this point, but it's been since 2008 range. So again, though, keep in mind it was so organic. Like, I mean, it was organic in one way, like in the sense of the skills I was bringing to the table. But the guy that I think I probably shared the story before. I had a little digital camera, and I was shaking it, and I realized after the fact it looked like it was an earthquake. So I just spent, a little time writing this idea of a superhero parody of a guy who, like, when he looks at the sun, he can cause earthquakes. And so he developed his powers over this stupid 7-minute video. And it's so over the top, and it's intentionally ridiculously bad, like cliche. He drives into toxic waste, and that's how he gets his dumb superheroes. So it's really ridiculous. But I had fun with it, and I just gave it to, I'm not like a religious guy, but like by the grace of God, one of my good buddies was a film school grad, and he's super smart, super talented, super creative. And I basically gave him all this ridiculous footage, and he made, with like sound effects and stuff, he made a thing that was really, it elevated my crap sandwich, and it was really funny and stupid. And so it kind of steamrolled something. So we started making things, and unfortunately, so this guy is a brilliant guy. He's a good friend of mine. He would typically edit or help direct, but we don't make as many things together anymore. I haven't made anything. We made one called The Ultimate Tear, which is worth checking out. But I don't know if you saw that one, Neil. About
I don't think so.
So it's about a guy who's looking to surf the ultimate wave, and he finds out it's all. Let me back up a little bit. So Full House is in the news, right? Because of what's her name? The Aunt Becky. Is it Aunt Becky? Who?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was sitting watching TV, and Full House is on. I don't watch Full House per se. My kids somehow found it, and they like it. But Full House is on TV, and John Stamos is having like a conversation because I think Uncle Jesse's is leaving the house, and Mary Kate Olsen or the sister, whoever it is, I can't, who knows? They are crying because Uncle Jesse's leaving because I think he's getting married, believe it or not. So Uncle Jesse's really sad, and a tear slowly falls out of his eye. And it was, I don't know much about John Stamos acting, but it was a perfect kind of, like the way they got the tear going, or where maybe they got, I don't know, it was impressive. But it was so cliche, so ridiculous. I figured I can make a movie about that tear dropping out of his eye. I didn't know what I could make, but I knew I could make a movie. Now, granted, when I have ambition like this, it does not translate to mean I can make a good movie, but I knew I could make a movie. So me and Bobby, this is the last thing we made together. Unfortunately, we don't make more things together. Like about 2 years ago, one night, in the spirit of how we used to make things, we'd think of the idea and we'd make it that night, and he'd edit it that week, and it'd be done in a week. That's how we used to make them. We've made like 50 films, let's term, they're videos, 50 things, whatever you want to call them. A big, large majority in the early days, especially, like we'd make it in a week. Whereas this one was in that spirit. We shot it one night. I said, Bobby, all I got is John Stamos' tear. That's all I got. So we worked one idea or the other. The one idea was like I was going to have a bucket, and those tears would cause rainbow. I don't know. I knew, because John Stamos is obviously almost like a mythic figure. How goddamn good looking he is at this point. He's defying science, and he's so his tears have to have some kind of healing properties or something. I don't know. So we were turning one over idea or another. The best we came up with in one night was that a surfer dude who's looking for the ultimate wave wants to ride the Stamos tear. So I don't want to give away more than that, but that's what that one was about. So the last thing I made with this guy was that, called The Ultimate Tear. It's worth checking out on YouTube if you want to be disappointed. But yeah, so that's how it kind of organically started, kind of just fooling around. We called the channel Friday Night Films because it would literally be Friday night. We'd be, three guys just being ridiculously silly with, at that time, cell phones occasions, and then it became little digital ELF cameras, and then that became like a little camcorder, and then there's a DSLR that I used for like the last almost 5 or 6 years, and then I thought I could use the new iPhone because Steven Soderbergh is making his movies on the iPhone 7, like Fly a Bird, his last one, I think, was shot on the iPhone 7, and then, Tangerine. Everyone's making freaking movies with their iPhone. So I think I can make a movie with my iPhone. I Owe You One Banana and Two Black Eyes. I tried to literally make my new one on the iPhone X with the new one, thinking instead of buying a new big DSLR, which I made all my last ones. Bottom line is we're not there yet. And if you see the film, I think it's fun and ridiculous, and I'm excited about hearing people's reaction. But the iPhones are not there, still, in my opinion. And maybe if you're Steven Soderbergh and you got a huge crew, well, he doesn't look that big, but if you got equipment and whatever, you can make it work. But if you're by yourself and you're making stupid, silly things, and you're in green screen, and it's not the iPhone. There's no, my opinion, there's no camera phone that's there yet, at least for what I'm doing. Yeah, my buddy says you've just put a coin in the jukebox here, and I'm not saying any of it's going to be interesting. But you asked the question. I apologize. I take a million left turns. I'm really
that's interesting. Yeah. I like it. Yeah. Are there any particular things you're looking forward to at Boston Underground Film Festival?
Well, the beyond selfishly my block, because it's always exciting. Sure. I'm going to spend like a second on my block, and then I'll talk about in less narcissistic, selfish terms. So this is my 5th year in a row, 5th film at Buff, since I had Mannequin play there in 2015. And it's played, Mannequin played in front of a feature, and this, my new one's playing in the comedy block at 4:15 on Saturday. From my understanding, it's opening the block, which is exciting for me. I don't know why. I think that it's fun, but the opening is important to me. But for some reason in my head, it's important. The closing film, I want to say it's Astron 6, the guys, the Legends of Boston, all those guys.
Yeah.
This film played at Sundance, and that's closing the block. I'm really excited. I think is it Cowboys? It's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff in the block I'm in that I'm excited about. The Hail Satan one you mentioned looks very interesting. There's fascinating. Of course, Clickbait, which my friends Michael and Sophia, which is I'm dying to see it. I actually, maybe I shouldn't say this, but I got to see a tiny bit of it early on, and I've seen all their stuff, and this is I'm really excited about it. I can't wait. So that's Wednesday. And of course, Homegrown Horror, which is my favorite block of the year that's not my own. It's just, I think we talked about this the last time, and we specifically talked about this block. The cool thing about the Homegrown Horror is, as we talked about last year on the podcast, horror is the most commonly made independent When I say the independent local scene, I'm talking anywhere from my movies that are budget of the film is $50. All the real budget goes into like the poster design and the film festival submissions. That's like 99% of the budget, and there's $50 that goes to the film. So anywhere from $50 to $10,000 in New England. My opinion, 7 out of 10 times it's a horror film, just because I think a lot of filmmakers by nature love horror, and for a lot of reasons, horror can sell. If you make a feature that's really cheaply made, it can, in theory, sell internationally. Comedy is kind of the opposite of that. Typically, it doesn't sell internationally. It's really regional. There's not a lot of local folks attempting to make comedy, but there's a lot of folks making horror. So when you look at the homegrown horror block, it's really all of New England's best. And Andrea has got a new film coming out this year. She's a friend of mine. She's made a ton of great things in the homegrown horror. My same buddy that made the music video, JB Sapienza, him, Dan Wilder, and John Caron, a few others, they have a film playing Mercury Screams that's playing in this block as well. So JB, I'm calling him. You said Black Mirror for Idiots is what you said about my film.
Yeah.
JB Sapienza is like Bo Jackson for Idiots. Like he's got 2 films playing in 2 totally different styles. Which is kind of cool. Like he's got mine, which he helped do the notes on, in the sense of giving me ideas when I was making the video, but he also literally made the song. And then he helped make with Dan Wilder a film called Mercury Screams that is in the Hometown Horror block as well. So the Hometown Horror should be a lot of fun. I'm sure I'm going to miss him. Izzy Lee's got a short that I can't wait to see. Izzy Lee's is a local horror filmmaker that was out in California a while. We're excited to have her back. She typically makes horror. Last year was a little bit horror comedy. She's got one that I'm super excited about because it's kind of in my genre. I'd like to say weird and surreal and crazy. I think it's something about the chicken apocalypse, something maybe a little bit kind of very.
Yeah, it's the obliteration of chickens.
Yeah, that's so up my alley. Considering my video is about the animal apocalypse, the upcoming one in 2021, it seems kind of feels similar, and I'm excited about it. So yes, her film is playing in front of a feature. I'm actually forgetting the feature right now. It's playing in front of. But my thing with Buff, it's almost like I don't do a ton of research on the other films, and I just go in blind. And every other day of the year, I'm wicked picky when it comes to a movie because of all the time I don't have. So when I'm like going on demand, especially when I'm going to the movies, I'm the pickiest son of a bitch, and I want to like read like 5, not necessarily reviews, but like I want to go to people I trust and just get a snapshot of what they think. Not saying I'm going to base my whole opinion on that, but just my time is so limited, especially when I'm trying to make things with all the stuff I got going on. When it's a film that I'm at home or I'm going to see non-Buff time of year, I'm super picky. But with Boston Underground, Nicole McContro's, Kevin Monahan, their team just programs the most amazing, crazy, off-the-wall, awesome stuff. And I know that it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to go into all of them. In some cases, most cases, blind. And I know I'm going to be blown away. And it's kind of fun. There's no experience like that I have now in my life where I just walk into something without really knowing too much. And then I walk out changed. And, it's part of the many things that I love about this week coming up between, the films, the people in terms of the filmmakers, but also everyone that runs it and programs it and volunteers. And the few people, the audience that comes, they're all the same folks that we are. They're all just people that love making stuff. They're probably, most of them are creative themselves, musicians. They're making their thing, whether it's music or their own art. It's just a fun, perfect location over at the historic Brattle, Harvard Square. It's a great, I don't know about you, Neil. When I walk through that area, maybe this is where I get a little weird, but I do feel energies, and like that area is, it's just crazy when you think about the history of Harvard Square. Both culturally, creatively, the arts, politics, civil rights, everything. It's maybe I probably just imagine this stuff, but you just feel, I'm sure it is. I'm looking around and I'm imagining things. I have a creative imagination, but I feel the energy in that area, and it's always fun every year.
Yeah. No, I have a great time too. And it is a cool area. What are some good places to eat around that area?
I'm going to really bore you, but and this goes back before Boston Underground Film Festival, but I love the Border Cafe. And I think I'm not like a franchise guy, and I think there's two of these, but it's mainly because their margaritas are ridiculous. I don't really drink that much anymore, but so I don't even like really drink, but I have a margarita problem. So if you put me in the Border Cafe, I'll just swallow them down. And they have great food as well. So, and then, there's a ton of local bars in that area, just as far as, fun places to hang out. And, they do a lot of like, parties and stuff in the area. But as far as, all the places around there, have you ever been to, I'm forgetting the name of it. The John, it's like I'm sorry, I'm not helping out on the restaurant front, but there's good spots there. I just take chances, and it's always good.
Yeah, I like to do that too. Check out just little places. You never know.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. So, how you mentioned YouTube a few times. How do you find your stuff on YouTube?
So the easiest thing. Sorry for that background.
All right.
The easiest way, and I feel like a broken record. And I always. All right, I'm a tangent guy. Can I go on a quick tangent?
Of course.
And I'm gonna connect the dots, and I'm gonna stick the landing. So, all right. So, hold on, man, my ADD. All right. So I said I'm gonna go on a tangent. You asked me how do you find it? Okay, Manacon. So yeah, I'm saying now I know. Now I remember the tangent. People make fun of one-hit wonders, right? That's a principle we'll hear.
Right.
We make fun of one-hit wonders because they're bands and like, oh, they only had that one hit. In my opinion, that's such a bullshit. That's crap because it's so hard to make anything. We all got so much going on. It's so hard to make anything. Never mind make something that connects to anyone. So if you make a hit, whatever it is, that's a fantastic thing that you should never be ashamed of. And the fact that people who are probably miserable in their life working sadly, and I'm not making fun of them, I'm just saying a lot of us live, quiet lives of desperation, I think is the term. And, they probably don't have creativity in their life, which is sad. They don't have outlets, and they just make fun of one-hit wonders. Good for anyone who's had one hit. That's a blessing. It's fantastic. So in my opinion, there's nothing wrong with the one-hit wonder. And having said that, I'm probably going to just go on a long explanation to defend myself here, but I think I've had one hit. So I just gave you a long explanation to rationalize why I don't have a problem with one-hit wonders. I think I've had one hit. So my one hit was probably Manacon. And Manacon, and I feel weird always bringing up Manacon anytime I talk anyway, but I guess the reason why I always bring it up, it's the easiest to find. You can find my channel. You go to YouTube and you search Manacon. It's about a man who turns into a unicorn man. That's how I think I'm always kind of trying to equate to Manacon with my stuff. And maybe, I think Tiny Clones last year was the closest I've come, and maybe this one got there, I hope. I don't know. But Manacon is the one that had the most kind of hits on YouTube, about 33,000 views. Not that that means anything, but it's sometimes a barometer for something. It was featured on Ain't It Cool News. It's the reason I became aware of film festivals, because that was my first time ever submitting, and it played at Boston Underground, and I was so fortunate enough that it won an award at Boston Underground. And so when I direct people to my channel, I like to just say, search Manacon on YouTube. If you like that, which you may or may not, if you like that, you're probably going to like the other stuff. If you don't like that, you definitely won't like the other stuff. But it's the easiest way to dip in. So it's a 5-minute short about a guy who takes the wrong mix of cough medicine, and he turns into a Manacon unicorn man, if you will. I don't want to give up much more than that, but that's if you search that, try to say it's typically the top of the list. I'm embarrassed to say I thought I made up the word, and there's a million other Manacons, and it's a whole other rabbit hole. A lot of weird stuff you can get into. And I am not responsible for any of it except for the guy flying in space when you see the thumbnail, the screenshot. So the easiest way to find my stuff is you look Manacon on YouTube. And then you can find my Friday night films from there, and that gives you, we've made about, 45 to 50 something things. I mean, it's a combination. Some of them, me jumping out my window in a snowstorm, that's only one of them. But the most of them are like, green screen, story driven. But then early on, there was a lot of, 1 minute sketches. So, I wouldn't say I have 50 short films, but there's 50 things on there. Maybe I have like 25 shorts. I know it's a weird, what's a short, what's a video, what's a sketch? In some cases on my side, it's sometimes it's all the above. But I used to make things more rapidly. Like I'd make 3 or 4 a year with all the stuff got going on, but I put much less time into each one. And now, because of Boston Underground, I'm always kind of trying to hope to make something that's a potentially premiere there. It's the hope. And I've been very lucky the last few years. So now the routine is I make one a year. Unfortunately, I wish I could make more. I make one movie a year, and the goal is to someday make a feature.
Do you have an idea for the feature?
So coincidentally enough, I have 2 ideas for a feature. One of them is basically I'd make Mannequin a feature, and I have tossed that one around for a while. Basically, I've got an idea. It wouldn't be a commercial parody like Mannequin is, but I got a thought process on how that would actually be a longer story. And the next one, I just want to throw a premise out there, Danielle, and maybe you can help me here. I personally think this one's pretty interesting. So, have you ever heard? Are you a cat? Have you ever had cats?
Oh yeah, I'm a cat lover. Yeah.
So, are you aware of the cat disease?
The cat
people
disease.
Sometimes get. What's that?
No, I'm not.
So, in some cases, all right. So, there is a bacteria that exists in cats that it can only mate. The parasite, toxoplasma is the name of the disease, the name of the parasite. So there's a parasite that can only breed in a cat's belly, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What ends up happening is the cat ends up pooping. So the cat poops, and that parasite is kind of, excuse my language, it's fucked because it can only mate in a cat's belly. So what happens? Typically, a rat or a mouse, even though they're afraid of cats, they'll find their way to the cat feces, and they will swallow this parasite. Now, the parasite is now stuck in the rat's belly. So what does it do? Neil, what does it do? So cat can only, and now most, like a lot of species, whether it's humans or animals, our intention of being here is basically, according to Darwin, is to reproduce and find, ways to get your offspring out there. So this parasite can't breed unless it's in a cat belly. So it's in a rat belly now. What it does is and this is all science so far. I haven't got to my movie idea. So the parasite is in the rat belly. What it will do is it'll actually take over parts of the rat brain. This is true. So interestingly enough, the part of the brain that takes over of the rat or the mouse is the part of the mouse or rat brain that's afraid of the cat. Why does it do that? Because it wants it to be not afraid of cats, which is it's instinct to be afraid of cats, of course. But if it's not afraid of cats, there's an opportunity where it could end up in the cat's belly so it could reproduce. So when rats get toxoplasma, like I'm mispronouncing it, it's a real thing. Look it up. It's why pregnant women, if you're pregnant, they try to keep you away from cats. So when a rat gets it, it's in the wrong spot. It works its way out and it tries to get back on the cat. However, they think there's 20 to 30% of the world population has this illness. And what does it mean in terms of mammals like us? Okay, so in the chimp and they found in baboon community, if a baboon gets toxoplasmosis, I'm mispronouncing it, it's no longer afraid of the tiger. So the tiger or the Bengal or whatever, the cheetah eats the baboon because now it needs to get back in the belly. The parasite is literally controlling portions of the brain of the baboon, okay? So when humans get it, which is a significant percentage of humans have it, they believe there's a correlation between folks that have this. I have a feeling Michael Epstein, who is literally a scientist, if he's still listening, He's either in full agreement or he's losing his mind. I have no opinion on how Sophia is interpreting this. She's probably just laughing. They're probably already tuned out. But Michael's literally a scientist, so I'm not sure how he's feeling about what he's hearing so far. Well, anyways, so in human form, they found that there's a high incidence of schizophrenia. In women, there's a higher IQ. If you're a woman with toxoplasma, you typically will have a higher IQ. But the really interesting part, there's a high percentage of folks that have motorcycle death accidents are high in toxoplasmosis, that have that illness, or these are parasites. They believe what gets into the human part of the brain, and it doesn't know what to do because it's not in the wrong spot. It can't really find a way to get back into the cat. But they believe they think they're more comfortable around cats. Folks that have this. The other part is they're less risk adverse because in terms of mice or rats, the risk averse means not being afraid of the cat. In terms of human, there are a lot of motorcycle accidents. And believe it or not, they think there's a high correlation of folks that start businesses, entrepreneurs. They found that high percentage of entrepreneurs, believe it or not, have this parasite. And the reason why does an entrepreneur have a higher percentage of having this parasite? Guy like myself, I'm in quote unquote business for my day job. I'm not the type of person that can start a business because I don't feel like what am I going to do? I don't have the money to start a business. When I got to go to a bank and borrow their money. But what if I lose their money? I can't start a business. I don't want to lose their money. Entrepreneurs don't think like that. When they start a successful company, it's their seventh company. They'll start one company, they'll lose some other people's money. They don't care. They'll start the next company. They believe there's a high prevalence of people with this parasite in their brain because guess what? They're not afraid of the cat. So they think there's a high percentage of entrepreneurs that have this parasite because they're not afraid of the cat. I'm afraid of the bank, a.k.a. the cat. They don't care about the cat. So what if, like, I'm inspired by Get Out and Sorry to Bother You. Like, those films influenced me. I love both of those movies. And I feel like a connection to taking the theme of my idea. I'm just giving this away to the internet. So if someone else makes it, it is what it is. But the idea is Silicon Valley, right? The next guy, they're always looking for the next guy who's going to be a millionaire. And these guys are so desperate. They're so desperate to become the next whoever, Zuckerberg, whatever. Some kind of company starts, someone's really desperate. Maybe they've started their business is about to fail, right? The business is about to fail, and they're looking on the wall, and they see the picture of the first dollar they earned and the ribbon cutting, and they're about to and they the picture of their Stanford or wherever business degree, and they're literally they don't have that in them. They can't go for it again. And all their friends have got their business. They figured it out because they started 5 businesses. And then he sees this weird, creepy commercial on the TV for getting a injection to get the toxoplasmosis. So the guy is desperate. He goes to get the shot, gets the parasite. But as we know from The Fly, as we know from Get Out, we know something's going to go wrong. Well, I don't know where I go from here. Does he become a tiger? I don't know. But that's all I got, Neil. That's all I got.
Now
that was a long explanation. Are you feeling it?
I'm feeling it. I like it.
It's out there.
I have faith in you.
Well, things are going to go wrong. So, typically every movie we see follows Joseph Campbell's myth structure. We see a hero in a position of comfort, but they want something. And then there's an inciting, they all follow these beats. And I used to think these beats were ridiculous and stupid, and I want to make a movie outside of these beats. And then I realized you can take this archetypes, you can take the structure, and you can mess with it, you can have fun with it. But you should use it in some ways because we've been telling these same tales literally since the caveman paintings. And, whether it's the Bible or the Quran, they're all following these beats. Every pop song follows these beats. These story circles are everywhere. So, you just take the story circle and you apply your ridiculous logic. It sounds so, like almost cheap, but then you hear stories and this is Bridesmaid. I love that film. Kristen Wiig, my understanding is they studied the structures. And, a lot of these films, they literally study the structure and they make it their thing. One person could say that's a cliche. I don't want to study structure. I don't want to follow rules. I'm going to make my thing. That's fine. But I think as an audience, you can only get away with just abstract for the sake of abstract for so long. You gotta engage the audience in whatever it is that's in our DNA. We want it fed to us a certain way. You don't have to feed it the same way. You can subvert them. You can surprise them. You can do something different at every turn. But they need to see some of those beats. They need to follow that archetype for them to just to pay attention, to care. And I don't know why it's in our DNA, why every tale that's ever been told has it, but they're all there.
Mm-hmm.
Name a film. I'll give you the archetypes. Star Wars, we see the character position of comfort, but he wants something. There's always a quest, but the hero refuses the call. I mean, sure, you study this stuff, it's fascinating, but it's almost one of those things, once you learn it, you can't unlearn it. It's all there, and you deconstruct it in, every time you see anything. It's kind of fun and maddening at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's going to be a lot of fun to be seeing you. It's not even a week away now. Next Wednesday. Coming Wednesday.
I can't wait, buddy. Yeah. I hope to meet Troy someday, and I hope I didn't kill you guys with my rambling on.
We enjoyed that.
We enjoyed it a lot. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So it's always fun to have you on. We should do it more than once a year.
1,000%, man. I mean, I feel honestly, the year you had, let me say this. So true story. I was bragging because, I'm on me and my buddy Phil Haley, who I feel bad that I haven't mentioned because he's one of my closest friends. Mm-hmm. I met him through Boston Underground Film Festival.
Yeah.
Yeah. Phil Haley and Michael Epstein. Now I'm going to get really, really, I'm sorry. Let me know if I got quick, everyone who hasn't already tuned out or hasn't already been turned off by all my BS is going to get really disgusted right now. But I'm not like, I haven't always been a corny dude like this, but like there's certain people in my life where I meet them and, I started noticing this in my point where you meet them the first time you meet them and you have a feeling you're going to be really connected and close to them. And, so Phil's a guy I met through Boston Underground Film Festival. We do a podcast together. And the moment I met him, I knew he'd always, be a close friend of mine, but he's a filmmaker. He's a producer. We make a pod together, but we make it like there's election years. Like it's every 4 years, basically. So we make this pod together very, very, very rarely. But my point was, what was I saying here, Neil? This is bad. Does anyone, have you ever had a guess, is this ADD that just goes on and then you can't remember?
I hope something about Phil Healy and people that you meet, right away you're going to like.
Yeah. So we did, I'm sorry. So I'm sure that's connecting to you, but the bottom line is I connected to you last year at Boston Underground. We did that pod. And watching the people that you've had through this year, from Larry Holmes to some of these filmmakers to these actors, it's honestly, beyond the pod I do with Phil. That's why I brought up Phil. It's been kind of surreal to see the stuff that you've done this year and see the guests that you've had. And I'm honestly honored and proud to be a part of it. It's pretty cool. It's kind of crazy. I don't belong in the space of Larry Holmes, for example. But it's fun to be on the same thing here. It's pretty cool.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Awesome. It's pretty wild for me to have all these different people on the show because the beginning of last year, or actually all of last year, I thought the show was great, but I had a lot of personal things. And the beginning of last year really was probably going to quit the show because I won't go into it, but a lot of terrible things. And instead, though, we did the show, and I think it did pay off because great guests and a lot of opportunities came up, and probably just like guest wise was maybe the best year of the show. I would have to think it was tons of.
Well,
people.
I'm sorry to muddy the waters.
No. For me, it's like
our list of fun people.
Oh yeah, no. I think it's as long as it's entertaining. It's how do I say this? I don't want to. Now I feel like I'm insulting you, but I was like, it doesn't matter if it's someone who like Larry Holmes, everyone's gonna know, or if it's someone who makes independent movies, like crazy shorts about about blue tiny clones and little houses, or somebody like I grew up watching some kind of cult movie. It could be any of those, and to me, they're all equally fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's yeah, we all have our thing, right? And it is fun. It's no, it's cool. It's cool to see you grow, man. I'm sure it's going to keep going.
Thank you. Yeah, there is a lot of people though lately that I probably didn't foresee ever interviewing, and maybe not even kind of like my wheelhouse. But it's been fun to do.
Awesome.
I've been
man.
offered some stuff that I've turned down. Very bizarre interviews. Like there was a guy who wanted to come on who wrote the book Trump and the Jews, and like they even wrote out all the questions for me to ask. And it was like I was like, I have no interest in doing this interview.
So they wrote the questions that you were supposed to ask?
Yeah, they wrote all the questions, and I was like,
oh, that's insane.
It's funny because even the last one was like, where can people buy your book? And it's like, do they think I wouldn't ask that? Like, it's like I'm like a moron.
Wow.
But I've never had anyone before just write out all the questions they wanted me to ask.
So, and I can't believe you got offered to well, I don't know, I'm sharing too much of it. It was on your Facebook feed, but you got offered to pay, they paid you money to say nice things, right? Was it something along those lines?
It was a different thing, but yeah, it's very, very bizarre. A lot of great things, but then very bizarre things as well that have come up, which I haven't accepted.
I'm still in that stage where people are asking me for money versus the other way around. So it's all good.
Yeah. Which is very weird to think that like they would pay me to say something as like I'd be very influential, that anyone would be like, oh well he says that I'm gonna
if Nasty Neil's down with this stuff, then we'll take it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. But it's very cool to have you on, and we'll do this again, and I'll see you next week. It'll be good times.
Can't wait, Neil. Thanks so much. Thanks.
Yeah.
For your story.
All right, you take care of yourself. Great to hear from you.
Boston Underground Film Festival. 5 days, good time.
Come on.
You guys will have a blast.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. Have a good night, Jim.
See you guys.
All right,
Bye.
Take care.
Hi, this is Max Brooks, the writer of World War Z and the upcoming book Devolution, and you are listening to Without Your Head.